Serving 400 children a day, ranging from ages 5 to 18. Here's what I want you to think about. The time between 3 p.m. and 6 p.m., some would say, is the most dangerous time of the day for a child when they're left unattended. What the Boys and Girls Club does is provide meaningful activities for these kids. We have 5 core program areas that we focus on. Education and career development, health and life skills, the arts, leadership development, as well as recreation and recreation. And it's through these programs that they get to participate in activities that they might not otherwise have. Drum and guitar lessons, singing in the choir. Academic enrichment is the key component to our club. We staff certified teachers and paraprofessionals who are charged with developing curriculum and mirrors the daily operations in the school. Our children receive homework and tutorial assistance. They engage in high-yield learning activities, as well as access to technology through our computer labs. Statistics have shown a positive impact on our children through participation in the club. You'll note that actually high frequency of attendance results in higher GPAs, up to 85%. And then with this improvement, them feeling better in the classroom, they also experience overall better behavior, as well as increased frequency of attendance. We see lower absenteeism at school as well. So funding. We are a private nonprofit organization. We are not subsidized by local, state, or federal funds. Our funding is by fundraising, grants, and local donations from the community. As most organizations experience some funding challenges over the last 14 years, we have as well. What we've noticed is a generational gap in giving. In particular, since the end of the recession, we've noticed that younger professionals in particular are more apt to donate time and not as much money. So what is the community impact of the Boys and Girls Club? Well, first of all, we're keeping kids off the streets, which reduces delinquency, which has an impact on you all because it reduces taxes. Our children are better educated. They are future entrepreneurs here in Bullitt County and elsewhere. We are helping build that potential employment base, as well as keeping in mind that our demographic normally remains here in Statesboro, and every dollar raised here in Statesboro stays in Statesboro. So what's our return on investment? I know as business leaders, you all might be interested in this. So considering that every dollar invested in after-school programs saves taxpayers approximately $3. Well, in 2014, we served 759 children, expenses roughly about $262,000. It's about $885 that we spent on each kid. Using this model, then the return on investment by the Boys and Girls Club was roughly $2 million. So, since our inception in 2001, we have been unable to meet the demands for our services. Some of you may know, for those of you that don't, February 2014, the Boys and Girls Club Teen Center was destroyed by a fire. As a result, we had to move our teens into our main center. We are at capacity every day, which means that we're turning away kids and families who need our services. So as a result, we need a new building, a new state-of-the-art building, and our board of directors has been working on developing a strategic plan to develop a capital campaign. And so that leads me into our question, which then kind of goes back to the capital campaign and donations as well, is very specifically, what does it take for you as an individual to donate to a charity? Because again, what we've noticed is, when the club started in 2014, the donor base were our situated, community-minded folks here in Statesboro that gave regularly every year. But as we've increased in the number of other nonprofits in the area as well, and other youth programs, and this increase in younger professionals in the area, how do we, how do we get them to donate their money? So that's my question.
Again, quick reminder, just introduce yourself before you give any feedback for Ron.
Yes, sir.
Fred David, Minuteman Press. What are y'all doing now? Do you do any type of direct mail or reach out programs? How are you kind of requesting donations at this point?
Well, just so you all know as well, I'm new to the organization. I've been with the Boys and Girls Club for about 5 months, so I'm also still learning a lot as well. I know that in the past, we relied on an annual campaign that our board of directors conducted, and through that annual campaign, up until about 2006-07, netted $300,000-$400,000 a year. And again, since the recession, and since the end of the recession, that annual campaign, I'm not sure why, but much less than that 300,000. I know that we're working on a mailer now to go out as well. We've developed a subcommittee with the board of directors who are working on that strategic plan. We're developing a printed newsletter that we plan to send out as well, highlighting, kind of a quarterly newsletter highlighting what's going on in the club, and then of course with that ask as part of the newsletter.
Have you ever, I guess second part of that, may be in there, but if you highlighted particular adults that have come through the program as children who are now very successful business people, or something in the community where you can say, so-and-so, we all know so-and-so, and he helped.
Well, one of the things we're doing now, also maybe some further education, there is the Boys and Girls Club of America. What's unique about the Boys and Girls Clubs is they actually kind of operate autonomously. So in terms of our funding, we also do not receive any funding from the Boys and Girls Club of America. Of course, they do their own individual marketing, and of course, they do highlight many of the famous individuals who come to the club, Denzel Washington, for example. What we've been doing now, we're fortunate to be in a university town, all of us are, and we're working with George Southern currently, Dr. Manuel here. We're doing a project with him on that return on investment piece. We're working with a marketing class and a PR campaign class, and they have developed some surveys for us that we've sent out, kind of asking those questions. Yesterday, actually, we had a 4D digital art class on site, and where they interviewed some of our alum that have gone off, become business leaders. One in Florida. So yeah, we plan on getting those out, Facebook, YouTube, all the other social media markets. Yes, sir.
Well, I'm Pastor, and I've been doing leadership with the John Maxwell team. And we have a group after this who almost beat me up and said we can't skip this week. So it's blown my mind off. This is an inside job. What do I mean by that? You've got to tweak what the boys and girls do in the community. Leadership is about influence, nothing more, nothing less. You've got to lead and show passion. What are you doing? You're adding value to future members of our community, and you want them to grow. As they grow, they They set up, they become entrepreneurs and others as they accomplish, even if you didn't do it well in the past. You still have the present and the future. So you have to be visionary. You have to touch hearts for people to want to what? Dig into their pockets. Because you touch hearts first before you touch your mind. Right? This is a colored town. You've got a captive audience. How can't you raise money? It's amazing to me. We do Georgia Southern's a day with Southern, and even the university community, faculty who haven't had more than 1% raise, many of us haven't even had 1% raise. We give, you know, because we feel like we are what? Investing value. We are part of creating value. Are you getting it? So whatever you do here as an entrepreneur, see yourself first as a leader in your community. Stop acting as though you don't have power. Right? Well, maybe show power and go for influence. Does that work? Right? Sound like you are excited to be here. Sound like you are standing in the future of Bullock County, right? We are poverty domain here, right? So you are a transformation guy. Does that ring? My class knows. That's what we're talking transformation these days, right? You want to transform Bullock County, beginning with Statesboro. Look, let me give you a picture. Before I joined my team, right? I've been a professor of economics for 25 years. And I've been beaten everywhere. Because we usually feel professors are not worth their time, right? We take taxpayers' money. So I started dreaming. What about leadership? Right? I take the John Maxwell team and challenge him in John Maxwell. Have you heard his name? I challenge him and said, John, we're going to take this across the pond to all developing countries and conquer Africa. We won't even fire a gun. He thought I was kidding. I said, and we're going to do it before the Lord takes you home. And then I challenged the president of the John Maxwell team, Paul Martinelli, and said, we're doing this. And he says, okay. After 6 weeks of hounding them, they asked me, you build the infrastructure, the process will come along. I formed an inner circle, right? Group of veteran John Maxwell people, some from England, some from the United States, you know. And then I found out that this has been done before. So you have to be ready to learn, right? And then I said, which country can I use as a case study? I said, oh, the only country I know well is my native country, Ghana. So I contacted the politicians I bring for training and all those things. They were not responding. I took junior members of parliament and contacted them. And what was the result? They're all excited. What we need is centers all over this place. And we have to think about how we fund it. I touch hearts now, right? And everybody is excited. Now, I don't know how far it will go, but you got to dream big, right? You got to be transformative. You got to fail going forward. Whatever you haven't done well, stop acting like this is not important, that our building burned out and we don't know where we're going, you know? And maybe you give us about, what, $50,000? No, this is a major community project, right? Begin with the Kiwanians, we do all these charity events, and challenge our people to raise up their giving, right? Because this is sowing seeds into the future of Bullock County. You get it?
Yes, sir.
You get it? Once you taste significance, success is not enough. Let me shut up.
Chambers,
My
with
job is
Citizen
to
Solutions. One of the things, you talk about what does it take for you as an individual to donate to a charity, and one of the things that I think happens in my life is when I know there's a valued organization that's creating value in doing the work that you're doing. Once you learn that there's a need and that money will be used in a productive way to better our community, then I'm more willing to open up to giving. So it takes education, but it also takes and getting that information out. I'm glad you're using Facebook, but it's a wonderful way to get information out. But he talked about a Kiwanis Club. networking, I don't know what you're doing in that regard, but trying to partner with some of these other organizations that are, their mindset is service. That they can, you may be able to partner with some of those folks if you're not already doing that. But then, just getting the information out to people, I mean, going around and doing this presentation to churches, other organizations in town that care about the local community, and maybe even taking some of those folks along that have prospered because of the program. I think that's a great way to get that information out into prick hearts, and to get people to see that, you know, there's value here, so I want to be involved in it.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, and certainly that's the challenge is how to just, you know,
This is
dispersing.
opportunity.
Pardon?
Sound like you're excited about stuff.
Why not sound
Challenges. It's an opportunity.
Absolutely.
Are you, I'm trying to get you excited.
I didn't think I was excited.
You have an audience that you don't have to convince, but you're using the wrong words. Begin to sound like a salesman.
Did you attend the Boys and Girls Club?
No! But I sent my children there when they were here. When I go frustrated, I send them there to socialize, learn from, you know, working with the neighborhood kids. We live in Iron Gate. I didn't want them to feel they were slacking off, so I shipped them to Virginia, put them in a private school, Military Academy, and saved them. Now they're all
I'm sorry, the Marine Corps just came out of me. And I did not stand when they asked the best to stand because I was running my mouth and didn't hear. But my question to you, when I look at this question, what does it take for you as an individual to donate to a charity? Who are you asking to donate? And I ask that question because are you asking, and I know a lot of the services Boys and Girls Club offer is free to the families that have children there, because a lot of these are low or no income families and they're on public assistance. But having worked as long as I have in inner city ministry, growing up in inner city Savannah, I find that a lot of the crowd you're serving have money. They have a tendency to buy what they want, beg for what they need. And my question to you is, are you giving them an opportunity to give and to give back and invest in their own children, even if it's as little as $10 a month? I don't know how Bullock is run. I live in Chatham County, have business here, but I believe it's the Medicaid program, how they're set up with, I think, Ameriplan, there's two different groups. In Chatham County, the Boys and Girls Club there that's in inner city Savannah, because I have some family members, I found this out through them, that they give free membership. So these state medical plans, those companies are giving money back to the Boys Club. So I don't know if that could be another revenue stream for you there, where people that have this particular this plan, they can go to Boys and Girls. So those are some other avenues to possibly look into. But the biggest thing I want to, those that are being served, those families, those children, asking, I don't know if you can demand it, but even if it's just a small fee, you'd be surprised at how resourceful they are.
Okay. Whoever wants to go first.
Regina Hamill with Washington Realty. I think the biggest thing goes back to what he was speaking about. If you're asking, you need to be the one that I'm investing in. I'm not going to the facility. I'm not seeing your children. I'm looking at an abstract based on a presentation on a PowerPoint. I have one, just for personal experience, I have one organization that I've donated to forever. They send me the little mail out. It sits on my desk until the camp director calls me and says, I haven't got your check.
Yeah, we're here.
And I'm like, oh yeah. Okay, here. And I fill it out while I'm on the phone, and it never fails. That's what you do when you're invested in the individual.
Absolutely.
So,
Personal.
exactly.
Yeah, I was just gonna just say, just take it one step further. I mean, I think When you think about the bones of what makes up our society, we're a story-formed culture, and people buy into a story. There's something powerful about stories, right? I mean, we hear a story, it moves us, and I think you guys have got to figure out what is the story of the Boys and Girls Club, but then more importantly, what's the story these kids are telling? Because you can stand and sell me on the product or the service, but if there's kids with you, literally, physically, you're bringing kids with you to these opportunities with businesses and churches and wherever you're going, then I've got a face to the story and even let the kids talk and say, why is this valuable to you? Then I'm buying into, I can see this is real because there's kids here. And you know, and it's not a play to heartstrings or making you feel guilty, it's just reality. They buy into the story of these kids, and I hear the story of these kids, and as a parent, that moves me. Because now I can be a part of this story. And I don't think it's hard to write that check, because now I know that I'm writing a check with faces in my mind and stories I've heard. And I think that's just what we need. That's what businesses have to do. That's where content marketing has come in the last year or two, is storytelling. Because people are starting to realize the basics about our society and the way we function is we are story people. We buy into stories, we're telling stories. So figure out what your story is and let the kids do a better job of telling it. I think that's probably really key.
All right, last comment. Who's got a itchy one?
Oh,
Okay. Brooks Adams at Avery Center again. I swear I wasn't going to do this because if I could answer that question.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and, you know, as Brooks going to speak, and he's involved with the Avery Center, you know, keeping in mind how many children we serve, you know, there are only 3 youth programs in Boulder County. There are 10,000 kids in all the public schools here. Boys and Girls Club, the Avery Center, and Parks and Rec. And of course, the Avery Center is embarked on their, capital campaign. They face the same.
And one thing that we've had a lot of success with, one thing that's working for us very well, and it touches on something that each one of you were saying, rather than going out and asking for dollars, rather than going out and asking for money or donate to me as a charity, we try to package it, or we do package ourselves in terms of what we offer the community. This is what we're creating. This is the benefit that we're turning loose on this town, on this community. What would it take for you to partner with us? What do we offer that enhances your brand? Why do you want your name associated with us? We try to answer that question before we go to the table with anybody. And once we get that question answered, once I take a specific gift to you, or to you, or to you, when you know what your value is for your investment, now we're talking about partnership instead of donation. And that creates a much better opportunity for us and for our partners, for our business partners. Many of whom are in this room right now, and I hope you agree with me. If you don't, I need to come see you. But just changing our dialogue, changing how we think about it, rather than asking for donations, we are actively seeking partners, and we're having some degree of success with it.
Thank you. Well, thank you again to everyone for your attendance and for your insights and input. Thank you to Ron and obviously to Fred as well for presenting a gift from us to you. David is not here because he's at his new location, so we'd like to thank David Hoyle from Cool Beans. And if you haven't heard, he started here in Cape next door and has expanded